Welcome, everyone. Welcome. We are in conversation with Nigel Beckles. We're going to continue, keep it moving, as I like to say. And thanks to those of you who are interacting with the show right now. Welcome back.
So we were talking about defamation. So if you're an admin of a Facebook group and someone posts something that defames another person, that person who claims to be defamed, they can technically sue the admin or admins of that group under UK law. So what the law says is the admin or admins should remove the defamation or the post allegedly containing defamation within a reasonable time. However, the guidelines do not stipulate what a reasonable time is. Could be 2 days, could be 2 weeks, no one knows. But at the end of the day, you don't really want to run that risk just because you're running a Facebook group. may seem a bit extreme, but So you have to be aware of what you're doing, because at the end of the day, what a lot of people don't seem to understand is that online activity can have real life consequences. So I'll give you another example. So for my podcast, I do my podcast. So I interviewed a lady who was going through a divorce, and she was talking about what she went through during her marriage, and she'd been abused during her marriage. But bear in mind the divorce was ongoing, and this lady lived in Australia, as I recall. And anyway, so we've done the interview, put it up online on YouTube, etc. Anyway, within a week, the lady contacted me and said her husband was threatening to sue her for defamation.
Oh, right.
Because in the interview, she claimed that he had abused her and the divorce was still going through. So basically, his argument was that she had defamed him by claiming that he had abused her during the marriage. So he was threatening to sue her with defamation. So obviously I took the interview down, edited it, so it didn't, refer to him by name as such. Even though that was a little bit tricky because she was still using her married name. So
people would know it's him.
Yes. So so then I put the interview back up. So you have to be careful what you're doing online. It's not as free and easy as people may like to believe. There can be real life consequences.
Yeah, and we appreciate you really raising our awareness of that, because I know for myself the disclaimer, that's something that I always say, the disclaimer, definitely. So we have to be aware. And Nigel, just also want to ask you, because it's really positive for us to know how to handle the online trolls. So what tips are you going to give us today about how to handle online trolls? Because me personally, I know that they are out there and they can trigger you. And also, one question though, before you answer that, trolls, are they usually known to us? Is there a percentage? You did your research. Did you notice that trolls are often known to the person?
I would say known is in the minority, the vast minority, because what trolls, one of the things that they like about the internet is being anonymous. So, and even if they've got their real name up, what is the likelihood of, say they are trolling you online, what's the likelihood of them meeting you in real life? Very little, really and truly. So they're more likely not to be known to the person they're targeting than to be known. Because at the end of the day, why would you be attacking someone you know online? You may know of them, which is what happened to me. The person who was attacking me online, that they knew of me, but they didn't know me. And plus they weren't using their real name anyway. Just like through my research, I found out who they were. And in fact, which I found quite amusing after it all died down, the person who was attacking me online using a fake name, his fake name included doctor. So he was calling himself Dr. David Graham to give his post more gravitas, I assume. But yes, they're not. Some of these people are not well. Trust me, they are not well.
Yes, there is. Some issues there. Definitely, if people are trolling, there are issues there. So, Nigel, some tips on how we can navigate safely online.
Right.
What do you recommend?
Well, I would recommend, if you suspect you're dealing with a troll, do not engage. just ignore them, because that's how some of them get their kicks. Yeah. So if they see they're upsetting you and you're getting all wound up, that's what they want. That's what they enjoy. So my first tip would be, do not engage, even though I know that can be difficult to do at times. I mean, if someone's attacking you, you want to defend yourself. I understand that's a natural reaction, and it does take some discipline. But my top tip would be, do not engage. I would say remain calm, stay composed, because the aim of a troll is usually to provoke some type of emotional reaction. So basically, if they can see they have done that, A, that gives them satisfaction, B, it's going to encourage them to keep going. So
yes, that is true.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, stay calm. On most platforms you can block someone, so if someone's giving you a hard time, just block them.
Exactly.
And you can report them.
You can messages as well.
Yeah, you can report them as well, but depends who you're reporting them to, because if you report them to the admin or admins and they're not fussed, as you were explaining earlier, if they're not that bothered about it, then reporting them may not be that effective. So I would say block them. Limit your interaction with certain people online, so set strong boundaries, because at the end of the day, no one forces you to interact with anyone online. So going back to when I set up my Facebook group and people were complaining about the rules, my response was, and still is, even though I don't really have those issues anymore, but I would say, well, no one is forced to join a Facebook group, and no one's forced to remain in a Facebook group. So if you don't like the rules, you're free to leave. What's the issue here? And
it's simple as that, yeah.
Yeah, as simple as that.
Simple as that.
Yeah, so at the end of the day...
Nigel,
go on.
You finish. It's Batman talk, and listen, you finish.
So at the end of the day, so there are things that you can do, but at the end of the day, no one's forced to engage with anyone online. So as I said, you can start engaging and going backward and forward with someone, and before you know it, half an hour's gone, maybe an hour's gone, but you're just wasting time and energy. And they're getting what they want, because the more upset you get, it's like putting fuel on the fire, isn't it? The more upset they see you getting, the more they're going to continue, because that's what they want. That's what gives them
what they want.
That's what gives them a buzz. Again, going back to sadism, many of them are sadistic. That's what they want, Nigel. Yeah, they like to see people being upset because of them. Because you have to remember as well, they also give them a sense of power. If you're getting upset by what they're saying, effectively that means they have power over you.
And that's what they want.
And that's what they want.
My first Facebook page, let me just share this then. The first Facebook page, you were on my first Facebook page, weren't you, Nigel?
Yes, indeed I was, yes.
You remember that, right? So I just went on there just completely kind of just cool with everyone. So there was quite a few trolls on the page, to be honest with you. And I used to get direct messages. When I used to send out posts, I think my page is really kind of nice. Might be a bit fluffy for some people. And just wanted, I know it might sound funny, I can laugh at it now, but this person direct messaged me. They don't come on the page and said, you're a right presenter, because at the time I was really just starting out with what I'm doing. Then the person said, I bet you're like this annoying, I know some people might think it's not serious, but Nigel, at a time when you're just there kind of in your vulnerability, and they just said to me, I bet you're one of those annoying, spoilt brats. And saying things like that, just direct messaging me inappropriately, and just had this anger directing it at me on Facebook.
Yeah, but then...
And I'm just like...
but the thing is, no, I hear what you're saying. I hear, because I went through so can I. I mean, as I explained, I went through the same thing when I published my first book. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, you have to say to yourself, well, why are they sending me this type of message? And they may well be jealous, because again, a lot of trolling can be, not say a lot, now let me rephrase that. Some trolling can be motivated by jealousy, because at the end of the day, I'm sure they haven't published books on poetry or published books on whatever, or they present a radio show. What do they do? What have they achieved? And often you will find that people who criticize you when you look at actually what they are doing or what they have done, their resume can't compare to your resume. So that therefore tells me, well, obviously you're jealous. Because I've had people. In fact, there's a guy I used to go to school with a couple of years ago, and out of the blue, and I've been taking him to lunch. He said, "Oh, can I do him some CDs?" I've done him about 70 plus CDs of music, blah blah. Then one evening out of the blue, he called me and said, "Oh, Nigel, you should be doing better." And I was upset. I was like, "What is he talking about?" So anyway, so I let him know that I found his comment disrespectful, and don't talk to me like that again. Again, asserting my boundaries. Not heard from him since, which suits me just fine.
Important. Nigel, it's important to have this conversation, and we will continue the other conversation in some weeks' time, because this is important. Because I'm listening to you, I'm inspired by people who are just doing what you're doing. You're doing so much out there, multi-talented writer. You just got so much that you're doing, and for me, I'm inspired by that. So I don't understand why people don't take that as an inspiration when they see people. But I've been told your poetry is not going to go anywhere, the women will hate you. I've been told, and this is from areas of the conscious community. Now, we know not all the conscious community is the same. So if you're listening and you're from the so-called conscious community, I know you're not all the same. But rather than uplift, and you're getting these messages, and then you get message to your phone and you realise, hang on, that profile on the WhatsApp looks like another profile that sent me a certain message. So sometimes it is people that have come across you, they've been at your presentation or something, and their job is just to chip away at you, at your confidence.
Yeah, well,
at a time when you're vulnerable.
Yeah, but as I say, they're jealous, and I've got because I'm sitting at my desk at home. So on my desk, I have a little plaque which I'm holding in my hand now, and it says, "Never let anyone dull your sparkle." And I keep that on my desk as a reminder. But going back to what you said about the conscious community, maybe some of the conscious community are not that conscious, and I'll leave that there.
We've got to have these conversations, Nigel, because I wouldn't be here if I didn't let the troll, or whoever it was, there's more than one person, if I didn't let them get to me, I wouldn't be here.
Well, that's right.
I wouldn't be here with my show. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't even have thought I'd be able to do this, to continue, because they were just literally trying to knock my confidence.
Well, that's what but for me, that's motivated by jealousy. So, as I said, at the end of the day, if people are attacked, you're just going about your business, just like I go about my business. I publish my blogs, I publish my books, I do my podcast, I do a radio show on another station, I just do my thing. Right now, if someone's bothered by that, that's their problem. So if they're going to try and make what I'm doing a problem for me, that's not happening. That's why it's important to have strong boundaries.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it's not your problem.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, if you're doing what you're doing, but then you have to ask yourself, well, if they're attacking or criticizing what I'm doing, what are they doing? Are they doing anything, or do they see themselves as a competitor? In fact, someone told me a story, and she's an author as well. And in fact, her name's Pauline. In fact, she's listening now. She lives in New York. And Pauline told me a story. And because she DM'd me on the commercial break. So Pauline told me a story where when she published one of her books, there was a lady she went to school with. And so Pauline said to her something on the lines, "Oh, I published my book, obviously happy." And this so-called friend said to her very scornfully, "Oh, you've published a book?" As if Pauline isn't capable. In fact, she's published several books. She's a very prolific writer.
Brilliant.
And she writes poetry as well, actually. As an aside, but yeah, so not everyone. If you're achieving your goals and you're, successful, whatever you may deem to be success, but there are people who are not going to be happy for you. That's just part of life. But you need to deal with those people accordingly, because at the end of the day, if you allow them to infiltrate your thinking and your consciousness, then it might put you off doing what you're doing, which is what they want to do. That's the goal. So
Yes.
you have to be very careful who you associate with, and you can't take everything on board, because you always have to look at motivation, because nothing happens behavior. So when you look at behavior does not happen in a vacuum. Behavior generally is motivated by something, some type of emotion. It could be motivated by jealousy. If it's negative, if someone's encouraging you, well, obviously they want the best for you. If they're encouraging you and giving you advice, obviously they want the best for you. If someone is raining on your parade, as the Americans would say, and they're like, down on what you're doing, you don't need those people in your life. You just don't.
It's true. You want positive people who inspire you.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
I mean, you see, there's something called, as you know, constructive criticism. There's nothing wrong with constructive criticism at all, because none of us are perfect.
Exactly.
So, so I might write a blog. Someone might say to me, "Oh, Nigel, yeah, that was good, but you could have included A, B, and C." Okay, that's constructive. If they turn around and say, "Oh, I read your article and I think it's," well,
Right.
so well, okay, well, so I may ask them, well, why? Well, what's wrong with it? But then you have to discern. One of my favorite words. You have to discern, what is constructive and what is destructive. Because if it's destructive criticism,
Yes.
you don't need that.
Exactly, because I embrace feedback, constructive feedback. Absolutely, I don't want people flattering me, all that stuff. But it's the mean comments on the journey that you receive, and on Facebook is definitely an arena for people just to direct message you. But I love the way in which you approach it all. That's really positive, Nigel. And Nigel, as you know, when we're having fun talking about this, the time goes by quickly. Nigel, let everyone know where they can find you out there.
Oh, okay. So you can visit my website, authornigelbeckles.com. I'm on Facebook, Nigel Beckles, which is Beckles. You can contact me via my podcast website, which is authornigelbecklespodcast.com. So yeah, I'm easy to find.
Easy to find. I'll never forget what you said. The lady you interview, and she was Googleable. She's Googleable, so I'd never forget that.
Googleable. Yes, I'm easy to find online.
Yes, because students were Googling you, Nigel. The students were, and they were asking me about you. He's a grown man. He's grown up. They were asking me about you and love what you have to say, because it is powerful. You have two coaches, UK and US, and you both are international, amazing coaches. So, and amazing at what you do out there. So I do want to say that to you, Nigel.
Okay, well, thanks very much. That is very much appreciated.
Publicly, absolutely inspirational. You inspire us all, and that's what we're here for. March is a celebration month, the UK Black Men Talk Show. So I'm just saluting you, Nigel, and saying thanks for being cool, because on this journey, one doesn't come across everyone that's cool on this journey.
Don't we know it?
Yeah.
Don't we know it?
Yeah, right, exactly. So this troll conversation really kind of got to me today, and it made me look at the bigger picture of trolls, basically, and what the objective is, and not giving in to them. So that's really important. So, Nigel, let's have a word, sentence, how you're feeling right now, and a number between 1 and 10.
Number between 1 and 10. 8.5, 9, creeping up to 9. But I think it's good, the way I look at life, because I have a certain amount of information, but that information I like to share because it can help others. No point knowing certain things and it's not kind of helping anyone else. So that's kind of like my motivation to do what I do, basically.
Brilliant, Nigel, and we appreciate you definitely. Listeners, thumbs up, and they said tell Nigel Beckles thanks. They enjoyed listening, and also to Pauline, the lady you mentioned earlier. Big hello to her as well. Yeah, and to everyone interacting right now, want to say thanks. Nigel Beckles, we salute you. We appreciate you. You are multi-talented. I think you don't know how talented you are. You definitely don't. It's so exciting to come across people like yourself. I'm not just saying that, Nigel. I'm not just saying that.
Do you know how hard it is? Do you know how hard it is to make a black man blush?
Oh, right. Right. Well, guys, we appreciate Nigel Beckles. Thanks so much. And we're going to be back, guys, after the break. Thanks, Nigel Beckles. Thanks.